ACT review number 12 now. In Cherokee County, the fine for speeding is $17 for each mile per hour over the driver is traveling over the posted speed limit. Cherokee County clerk was fined $221 for speeding on a road with a posted speed limit of 30 miles per hour. Kirk was fined for traveling at what speed in miles per hour? So here we know that, again, each mile per hour is worth $17. And he was fined $221. So let's take that total and divide it by 17. That will tell us the number of times he was charged 17 bucks. And when you get that, you get 13. So that was an extra 13 miles per hour. Now that's an option, but careful. The question is, Kirk was fined for traveling at what speed? Not the distance, or not the speed over the speed limit, but his total speed on a speedometer. Well, he was in a 30 mile per hour zone. So we have to add 30 to that. 13 plus 30 is 43. That is the solution. So again, we had to add 30 to the 13. What is the sum of the solutions of the two equations below? So this first equation, we can solve 8x equals 12. So we divide by 8. We get x equals 1.5. The solution to the second equation we can find as well. 2y plus 10 equals 22. So we subtract 10. And we get y equals 6. What is the sum of the solutions to the two equations below? So we need to add those two solutions together. So when you add them, 6 plus 1.5 is 7.5. Now I wrote this as a decimal, but that of course is equivalent to 7 1/2. Number 15, what is the value of the expression below? Remember, absolute value, we treat those bars as parentheses, meaning that we need to do what's inside of them first. So inside this left set of bars right here, we have -8 plus 4, which is -4. Then we have another set of bars right here. 3 minus 9 is -6. Okay. Now, once you have done what's inside the bars and you've simplified it down to one number, inside this set of bars it's a -4, then you take the absolute value of that, which means the distance to 0. So if you're sitting on a number line at -4, you're 4 steps from 0. Over here, the absolute value of -6 is 6. If you're sitting at -6, you are 6 steps from 0. But now we have these larger or other absolute value bars outside, or on the very outside of the expression. So now we have to work inside of these bars and do what's inside of it. So 4 minus 6 is -2. So now we have the absolute value of -2. Now, once we simplify what's inside, we finally take that distance to 0. And the distance from -2 to 0 on a number line is 2. So the solution is +2. Doing some order of operations there. In the standard coordinate plane, what is the slope of the line given by this equation? This is not slope-intercept form. So the slope is not 4. You need to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 5. And so we get 7y equals 4x minus 5. Careful, you cannot combine these two things because they're not like terms. Last but not least, divide by 7. Now when we divide the right side by 7, we have to divide the left side by 7. So we get y equals 4 over 7x. You can take that x and slide it off to the side, or you can keep it on top, minus 5/7. Now I'm going to write this by switching the left and right side of the equation. I'm going to put the y on the left side. We have 4/7 x minus 5/7. Remember, slope-intercept form. The slope is the value getting multiplied with the x. So 4/7. Oops, I just crashed my son's semi-truck. The solution there would be 4/7 is in the slope position. Number 24. Armin is trying to decide whether to buy a senior pass to his college basketball team's 20 home games this season. The cost of an individual ticket is $14, and the cost of a season pass is $175. The season pass will admit Armin to any home basketball game at no additional cost. What is the minimum number of home basketball games Armin must attend this season in order for the cost of the season pass to be less than the cost to attend by buying an individual ticket for each game? Hi, Charlie. What's up?
Open.
Do you want what open?
The door is open.
You can push it a little further open. Okay. It's 9:32. You need to be in bed sleeping. You can push the door open, Charlie. Okay. Good night, buddy. So, we're wondering, apologies, we're wondering when the cost of a season pass is less. Season pass less than individual tickets. Individual. So individual tickets again are $14 per ticket. So $14 like per game, or so 14 times G. One is that more than the season pass. One is the season pass less. One are the individual tickets more. Means the same thing. So now we can solve for the number of games that makes the right side or the individual side be more than the season pass side. Grab a calculator, divide those out. We get 12 point something. Yeah, so let's see here. So when you get 12, that takes you to $168. So round that up, it'll take 13 games to get you more than that. So you need to round that answer up so the game side is more than the season pass side. All right, let's keep rolling. See if you remember this from Algebra 1. And we'll review this in Algebra 2, but I'm not sure it's going to happen before your before the ACT for your juniors. So here, you're dividing these values. So when you do that, you take the numbers and divide them. So 4.8 divided by 1.6. But then what you're going to do from there, and when you do that, you get 3. But it's going to be times 10 to whatever the difference of the exponents are. So you subtract the exponents. You take the top minus the bottom. So -7, which is the top, minus -11. Now when you subtract a negative, you can keep switch flip. So you get a +4. So that's going to be the power on the 10. So there is your answer. Another way you could do that, folks, is, with multiple choice, it's kind of nice. You can always kind of guess and check. Now you're going to have to use parentheses like we talked about with fractions earlier. So what you could do is grab your calculator and take this in parentheses and divide it by this in parentheses and see which answer you get. Now that means that you have to probably grab your calculator from there and then see which your decimal, which is equivalent to this. So you can plug this in your calculator then and see if it matches the decimal that you got right there. So there is some finagling you can do, or guessing and checking you can do. The number A is located at negative 2.5 on a number line below. So here is A. It's about halfway in between negative 2 and negative 3. One of the following number lines shows the location of A squared. Which number line is it? So it's funny they're relating this to a number line, but really they're asking, what is negative 2.5 squared? Now I put this in parentheses because if you don't use parentheses, your calculator is going to give you a negative value. And we all know that squaring a negative or a negative times a negative is a positive. So like these negative answers are silly. There's no way negative 2.5 squared is some negative number. When you take negative 2.5 squared, you get 6.25. So that should be option E. So that question doesn't take that much time if you just use parentheses in your calculator and realize that, well, instead of just writing down the number, they're plotting it on a number line. All right. This question actually goes back to 4th grade. Maria ordered a pizza. She ate only 2/9 of it and gave the remaining pizza to her brothers. What fraction of the whole pizza will each of Maria's brothers receive if they share the remaining pizza? So they are getting, well, so if, I'm not going to draw a picture, but she gave them 7/9 of the pizza because she ate 2/9, so there's 7/9 remaining. And then they each get to keep 1/3 of it. So what fraction of the whole pizza will the brothers receive? Each of the brothers receive. So now they get 1/3 of, which in of means multiplication, 7/9. So you're multiplying fractions. Multiplying fractions is the easiest of the 4 basic operations with fractions. You multiply straight across. 1 times 7 is 7. 9 times 3 is 27. 7 out of 27. 7/27 of the pizza they get. Which of the following expressions, when evaluated, equals an irrational number? Well, this equals, an irrational number, folks, remember, is a number that cannot be written as a fraction. Can't be written as fraction. H equals 16. J, multiply the square roots together, you get the square root of 16, which is plus or minus 4. That's a fraction. Here, just recently we worked on rationalizing the denominator, multiplying by the bottom. So, for this one, you get, erase a little bit here. On top, you get the square root of 16. And on the bottom, you get an 8. Square root of 16 is plus or minus 4. So you get 4/8. Hey, that is a plain old fraction. So it's not F, it's not H, it's not J. Try to rationalize G. You get the square root of 16 over 2. So that's 4/2. So that's written as a fraction. So it must be this one, it must be K. By the way, you can't add or combine these if they're not the same exact radical value. So